The Bills have tried beating the Chiefs in the playoffs now 3 times since Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes took over as the starters. The AFC Championship rematch from the 2020 playoff run is in full swing as Sunday inches a little bit closer. As the slight favorite, the Chiefs look to advance to their 3rd straight Super Bowl while the Bills fight for a chance to even be able to snag a first ever Lombardi. Let's break down the latest surrounding this matchup now. What is up, Chiefs Kingdom? Happy Friday. I'm Hayley Lewis, and this is Chiefs News Daily. T-minus 48 hours until the conference championship gets underway at Arrowhead Stadium. In the meantime, we check in the team one more time ahead of game day, and we're going to bring you one national reporter's thoughts on who might be packing their bags and having an off season after Sunday. First, give us a like and subscribe right here on the KCSN YouTube channel, and let's get rolling. As for the injury report and game day designations for both the Chiefs and the Bills, I give you this. Kansas City looking pretty healthy at the right time. Inactives, of course, you're going to have to wait for those. They're announced 90 minutes prior to kickoff, so sometime around 4 p.m. Central Time on Sunday. All right, today I'm feeling in a good mood. I'm going to allow a little bit of forgiveness. So James Palmer is going to join the show today to redeem himself, of course, after picking the Texans to win the divisional round just last week. So hear him out, Chiefs Kingdom. Without further ado, Tucker, roll the tape. Welcome, James Palmer. Actually, walk of shame, James Palmer, back to the show after picking the Texans to beat the Chiefs. No, we'll give you got 60 seconds to defend your honor.
Well, I can't pick the Chiefs every game, which I've done pretty much covering them I felt like I lived in Kansas City when I was at NFL Network for like 7 years covering Mahomes. There's a picture right here of me, Travis, and Patrick. So like, I don't think I'm a Chiefs hater. Like I was getting yelled at from the stands at Arrowhead repeatedly as I walked on the sidelines pregame. I thought there was a recipe or a formula for Houston to win the game. But once again, what ended up happening was and they played well enough to win. They did something that like no other team in like 55 different, teams have all won if things went out this way. But what we were shown again is the Chiefs play all 3 phases, and other teams make mistakes in other phases. The special teams of the Texans were atrocious, whether it's the opening kickoff or the kicking game. And so we were shown once again that what the Chiefs do better than anybody else, and I think this is from the coaching staff, is they just never hurt themselves, ever. And I think that's what also is part of this, and we can get into it, the perception that is around Patrick and some of these penalties. I think they're exaggerated because oftentimes the Chiefs don't commit these penalties. And so I think the perception of them going in one direction is usually because this team's very well coached and doesn't make a lot of mental or stupid errors. And so all of that combined together, I did think there was like a chance that Houston could create a couple of turnovers because they've done it against guys that protect the football well this entire season, and they couldn't. And they still played all right, and they had a possible chance to win the game. I just thought, I can't pick the Chiefs always. I get enough crap for living here in Denver and having this photo up here all the time. And so I went out on a limb, and boy, did I take it on the chin. It was brutal. It was brutal at Arrowhead, and I'm usually kind of liked there often.
Yeah, they'll give it to you, but we accept your apology, even if it was one. We'll take it. But you make some solid points. I especially liked how you talked about Kansas City doesn't commit a lot of those penalties themselves, but I also think that Kansas City does a good job of exploiting other weaknesses that the opponent has. Let's dive in a little bit to the narrative that we've been hearing all week, and especially, I get it. When you see a team continue to win, and we've talked about this before, you've been on the show talking about how people did the same thing, villainizing Tom Brady when the Patriots were on that run. You're going to have people looking for a storyline to latch onto. And right now it's been the refereeing. Although a lot of analysts have come out with the statistics and showing that the Chiefs are actually one of the most penalized. They actually get, and how it's in opportune times and different, they go through the list of different ways. Yeah. What's your take on this narrative?
I think the Brady comparison is real. We went from, in the beginning of Brady's career, I can't believe this guy picked at the end of the draft, was like the 3rd string at Michigan, and now he's winning these Super Bowls. I love Tom Brady. Yeah, that was at the beginning of Patrick's career. I was standing on the sidelines of the AFC Championship game when Brady beat Mahomes in Pat's first year starting, and everybody's like, oh, I love this Mahomes guy. Yeah. Villain of Tom Brady. And the start of Patrick's career was very similar to the start of Tom's. And then when you have continued success, and 31 other teams do not, there's a lot of them seeing you on every nationally televised game, because that's the way the NFL works. So the whole country's seeing you at 4 o'clock, not locally and regionally at 1.
Right.
And you're playing on Sunday Night Football, and you're playing in the postseason, and there starts to be a shift in the perception, because that's the way we're wired as Americans. I'm sorry, that's the way this country operates. So then the hate starts coming with the continued success, and Brady went through it, and now Patrick's going through it. And I think what's also happening is I don't know anybody in the NFL, honestly, that has better body control than Patrick Mahomes. It's one of the things he works on more maybe than anybody in the offseason with Bobby and everything that they do. I think you can't fault him for trying to take advantage of these things, for his ability to slide late, for his ability to tip down the line, tip down the sideline and have the appearance he's going out of bounds and not. Like, these are all different little nuances for trying to win football games. And I don't fault him for doing these things.
Yeah.
But I also understand, like, the flop out of bounds that wasn't called, that play is what gets opposing fans frustrated. And I think anybody in Kansas City could understand that. But what he's doing is trying to take advantage of his situation. Jordan did the same thing. Hell, like Ronaldo does it. Like, it's a big part of soccer, like learning how to draw penalties. Like, so if you're looking for every nuance for an advantage, Patrick does that. Kobe did that. And like, once these guys retire, then they're revered. But while they're doing it, other things despise them.
You know, it kind of sounds just like a rite of passage, and you mentioned it. They're underneath a microscope. These things are obviously going to be highly criticized, and it's just no better way to say than it's just the way that it seems to be. So moving forward, you know, to this, or go ahead, James, if you want to follow up on that.
No, I think you're right. I think that's exactly it, and that's where it's at. I do think we like, and Patrick puts the microscope on it because he plays in massive games, and he's the face of the NFL. And I do think this past game was interesting because usually it's fans on, you know, that are going nuts, like on social media. This past game, like, and I follow every beat reporter, everybody in the league. This past game was a little interesting. Sitting in the press box, and I have these guys in columns on like TweetDeck, and I'm like, man, these are like pretty respected beat reporters.
Calling it up
playing around for like 30, 40 years coming to the league that I respect that are now having a problem with this. That was a little bit shocking to me.
We'll have to see how it pans out this coming weekend. I know it's going to be a thing that all eyes are going to be on. Josh Allen looking for his first postseason win over Patrick Mahomes. It's been the story. I mean, I have talked about this storyline and beat this dead horse so many times. Wins in the regular season, can't get it done. You're very familiar with both of these quarterbacks. I mean, it's no denying how good Josh Allen is. If any year, in my opinion, this would be the year, this would be the regime that he could come in and do this. What do you think about the Bills' chances in this?
I think the Bills have very good chances. I think for a few reasons, they don't make mistakes like the teams that we're talking about. And right, we're talking about how the Chiefs don't really make mistakes. I mean, they had 8 turnovers this season. 8. Like, that's the fewest for a team since 1950.
Yeah, that's kind of nice.
That's unbelievable. And so, like, they protect the ball really well, so I think that helps their chances. For the entirety of the season, the Chiefs haven't forced turnovers really all that well. They went on a nice little stretch there, weeks 15 through 17, I think it was, where they forced like 10 turnovers, and they had 10 in weeks 1 through 14. And so that helps, I think, Buffalo's chances. I think, honestly, and this sounds crazy, and this is really kind of relevant, Hayley, to like both quarterbacks.
Okay.
They're not like doing these ungodly, worldly things that we used to see them do.
Yeah.
Like, Patrick used to run around and be like 6 or 7 plays a game. He'd be like, what? Same thing with Josh Allen. They're both playing like more on time, more controlled from the pocket, more mistake-free, because when you do a lot of that stuff, you can, you know, be prone to make mistakes. So I think Josh is like playing in a different way than we've seen him come into Arrowhead in years past. And I've been there for all of them. And I was in Buffalo last year when they closed off. And so he seems just more comfortable taking what's there, being very strategic when he uses his legs as opposed to just running around and trying to make plays on every single play. He's never sacked. I mean, this is the only team, I think, in NFL history that had fewer than 15 sacks and 15 turnovers in a season. So, like, his offensive line is healthy and he's protected. And so I think all of those things help Josh. He's playing differently. and it might not be as sexy. I think the same thing is with Patrick, actually, as a whole. He's finding ways to win and knows how to win football games. And I think it just shows the growth in both players, and why they're both going to be really good for a long time.
I mean, I think that's a great point. We look back, and we were both there at in the press box for the 13-second game during that divisional run.
No, I was on the sideline. I would back and forth because I'm like, friend, get an interview. And I'm like, oh, we're going to interview Patrick. And then, like, all of a sudden, down to Gabe Davis, I'm like, let's go. And the whole crew, like, runs to the other side. We're like, we're going to be interviewing Josh. And it's like, they're like, no, we're going to interview Patrick. And we like run back to the other side. Like, it was the most amazing thing I've ever seen.
It was.
Those two guys. It's the best game I've ever been to. We've seen these guys play at these levels. And now, like, I think they're both understanding, like, I have that in my back pocket.
Yeah.
Patrick's throw to Travis was incredible. Like, I still can do those things. I don't think I have to do them all the time, or how can we play more efficiently?
It's definitely the evolution of their game, and I would like to say maturity of their game.
Good point.
So let me close it out with this question. The Bills win if... And I know it can't just be one category. I know some things have to fall their way with the Chiefs making mistakes, right? Things have to go in a multitude of ways.
I think there's one thing. Honestly.
Okay, fit it down.
So equal in everything, like strength versus strength with Bills offense and Bills and Chiefs defense. Like the stats are like almost identical. Same thing with like really good but not great.
Yeah.
Chiefs offense, Bills defense. Almost all the stats are identical. There's one glaring thing to me that is just the Bills need to do differently than they've done all season, and that's third down as a defense. Like, the Chiefs are outstanding on third down as an offense. It's a big reason why they lead the NFL in the regular season with some of these 10-play drives. The Bills can't get off the field on third down sometimes, and that's a big issue. They've gotten over it by forcing turnovers, and that's helped them get away with this a little bit. Patrick hasn't turned the football over. The Chiefs haven't turned it over. So if the Bills have to get off the field on third down, or else I think it's going to be tough sledding. I think that's going to be the hard part, because then you're just not going to see Josh on the field, right? Like, that's going to be the hard part for Buffalo. That's the one glaring stat that is like night and day between these four units, honestly, that are competing.
I mean, it's hard, and it's even hard to find because again, we've been talking about the same storyline so much. It's hard to kind of pinpoint, okay, this is where I think could, make or break the game. Yeah. But ultimately, it's these two quarterbacks. As much as I agree with what you're saying, something's going to go astray on Sunday, and there's no way to predict it, and we're just going to have to sit there in awe. And I'm, apologies to you, you will be running back and forth on Sunday to find out who's going to win this one.
It is true, and it's going to be, it was really cold last week. We were like huddled together.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It was a chilly one out there.
Well, hopefully it's not as cold this weekend.
I hope not. I actually have one final point. This is what I think. We talk about these quarterbacks so frequently, and we talk about Travis Kelce, and we talk about Kincaid or James Cook, or they run the ball so well. And to me, the two players I'm going to watch very heavily in this game, and they might determine this game as well as the third down thing, Nick Bolton and Matt Milano. I think the linebacker play in this game is vital to your success, because both quarterbacks have the ability to extend plays. The way Josh runs the football, he doesn't run the football outside the tackles. Like, he runs vertically downfield between the tackles. That's Nick Bolton, dissecting it early, making these stops early. Say it's second down or first down and Josh takes off and he gets 2 yards instead of 8. That's night and day for the rest of the drive. Like, I think what Nick does in the middle of this defense is huge, because also when the Broncos were going against the Bills, I got a text from an executive on another team that was like, Broncos linebackers cannot hang at all against this Bills team. And so now I'm going, well, who has great linebackers? I don't know. The Chiefs? Yeah. Who's outstanding? Nick Bolton. By the way, talking to the coaching staff on last Saturday, they're like, we don't even want to think about the thought of not having Nick Bolton here. Like, they're terrified of like him leaving in free agency. You know what I mean? He's just that vital to this defense. And then in turn, I also think, also with Nick, like they attack between the hashes. That's what the Bills do. They attack the middle of the field. They're not even that great outside the numbers. Like, Trent's going to play more in the middle of the field because that's where all their talent is, with Khalil Shakir and both tight ends and James Cook. They attack you right down the middle. So that's why Nick Bolton's huge. On the other side, you saw what Milano was able to do, spying Lamar Jackson, being able to make sure big plays didn't happen. His health and his ability, I think, in the middle of that Bills defense is huge, also playing a part in communicating everything with the way Travis plays there. So I think those two guys might not be talked a lot about coming into this game.
Yeah.
I think are huge for the outcome of it, though.
Look at that. You just gave us another storyline to hone in on as we get ready for this game on Sunday.
Don't let it be Nick Bolton's last game in a Chiefs uniform.
I know.
He does so much. I mean, it's unbelievable. Like I had Brendan Daly, the linebacker coach, tell me once, like during the Super Bowl, he was like, he has a photographic memory. He's like, he was like, Nick has a photographic memory. And like, as soon as he sees it, he'll never forget it, and he'll see it.
Yeah.
He recognizes things so quickly. That's a big reason why this defense works, because Nick calls things so quickly, and they get to where they need to go. So it's gonna be really interesting. It's gonna be a fun one. I don't know who wins. I'm picking Chiefs.
Yeah, you better. And if you don't, you better say you do on here.
I have to do it publicly, but I'm picking the Chiefs. But this is gonna be a fun one, because I think this is the game that we're now seeing. Like, both these guys are just, they're taking it to a whole nother level in terms of just knowing how to win games and still playing at these crazy abilities. It's a blast.
It's going to be incredible. All eyes definitely going to be on it. I'm sure there's another viewer record that's going to be broken this weekend. Everyone watching to see what happens. And hopefully the Chiefs do not have their off season coming up this Monday. And we don't have to think about the Nick Bolton contract and those things quite yet. James, as always, appreciate you being on. See, you had such positivity in this episode, and then you had to throw in the zinger.
For the first time in forever.
I know, but we, again, blinders throughout this thing. So, again, thank you so much for joining us, James.
Yeah.
And we'll check in with you potentially next week. We'll see what's going on after the result of this one on Sunday.
Hopefully people like me more now. This was fantastic.
Hey, give them a little time. All right, 3, 2, 1. All right, folks, that does it for another episode of Chiefs News Daily. We have wrapped up this week. We will not be back tomorrow. We will be back on Monday, hopefully talking about the Chiefs going on to another Super Bowl run. But in the meantime, like and subscribe right here on the KCSN YouTube channel. Have fun, enjoy the game. We'll see you here on Monday.